What is going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about VS Code extensions. More specifically, we're going to be talking about my top extensions that I have used throughout 2020, and these are also the extensions that I will be working with going forward into 2021. You have probably used an extension at some point in time, whether in VS Code or a different editor, whichever your editor of choice is. VS Code has a very robust library of extensions available. I do use a lot of different extensions in VS Code. For the sake of this video, I have chosen to narrow it down to my top 5. The first extension on my list is no other than ESLint. ESLint is an amazing linter extension. Essentially what this will do is this will analyze your code to enforce a specific style guide, as well as identify any errors in your code. It really helps to keep a uniformity throughout your code, and it prevents you from making errors in places where you commonly could. One of the things that I really enjoy about using ESLint is the simplicity of configuration. So when you have a brand new project, once you do npm init so that you have your package.json file, you can simply run in the terminal here, you can run npx ESLint --init, and this will start the initialization of ESLint within your project. So wait for that to finish, and then it'll ask us a couple questions. So it asks us, how would you like to use ESLint? Typically I go with to check syntax, find problems, and enforce a code style. Most commonly, as far as modules, I use JavaScript modules, import export, because I use this with React projects very frequently. Oh, I don't know why my thing is being slow. Anyways, so it asked me what framework do I use. I use React, so I accidentally clicked through it too fast. Does your project use TypeScript? We'll say no. Where does your code run? The browser. And then this is where it asks us about defining a style for our project, which what's really nice with ESLint is that you can use a predefined style guide, so you don't have to do a whole lot of configuration yourself. And here it gives you the options to use either the Airbnb style guide, the standard, or Google style guides. Most commonly I just use Airbnb, and then we'll configure this for JavaScript. And then we just wait a little bit and it will go ahead and install all of the necessary dependencies, and we'll wait for this to finish. And that's it. ESLint is now configured for use with our project. So that's really it. ESLint is incredibly easy to use, and the benefits are huge. And if we come over here to one of my other projects, this is just a personal project I've been working on lately. We can see down here at the bottom, because I use ESLint on this project, we can see here that it shows a bunch of errors in files that I currently have open. The files will still work. This just tells me things that go against the style guide, essentially. Tries to prevent me from making errors. So like if I have things that I've imported but they're not used, it will tell me. And this will also pick up on honestly, it picks up on a ton of different things. I could list things all day, but that pretty much wraps it up for ESLint. Pretty straightforward, but highly recommended. The next extension on my list is going to be Rainglow. This is one that I definitely don't think that I could live without. I am somebody who likes to change my theme all the time in VS Code, and instead of having to dig for a bunch of different themes all the time, Rainglow is typically one of my go-tos. Essentially, if you're not familiar with the Rainglow project, this guy is incredible. He basically created this giant repository here that you can just install this one extension and you get access to over 320 different themes that he has created. And I know that changing themes and looking through different themes in VS Code can be a little bit of a hassle sometimes. So fortunately, this developer was nice enough to set up this website with a theme preview tool. So you can essentially come here and you can just arrow key through all of his hundreds and hundreds of different themes and find one that you like. You can look through the regular variants, the high contrast, or the light models, and you can find one that you like, and once you find it, you can just go back to VS Code and select the one that you want. Number 3 on my list is going to be Bracket Pair Colorizer 2. This is another incredible extension. It's really just a visual aid, and it can help you keep from losing your place with inside of your if conditions or functions, whatever else you're writing in your code. Basically, the way it works, I'll come here to something that has a lot of different brackets and parentheses, for example. So this Webpack file, you can see here that all of my brackets are color coded with their pairs. So this purple bracket matches this purple bracket down here. That's how I know that those two are connected, as well as this nice little line here. Same with these yellow ones, or these blue array brackets here. Basically all parentheses, curly braces, and regular brackets will all be color coded to match their opening and ending pairs. Number 4 on my list is kind of an interesting one. I don't think that I've seen anybody else talk about this one before, at least not personally. But number 4 on my list is going to be iTerm2 theme sync. This one is not really useful in a practical way. I like the idea that I can have my VS Code and my terminal both look identical. So this is a really cool extension that basically will automatically sync the theme from VS Code that you're actively using with the color profile on the iTerm2 terminal. So you can see if I have my terminal open and I go over to settings to theme, I can come here, and if I select a different theme, yeah, there we go. I didn't know if it would change without closing it, but you can see here that my terminal theme will change as well, and they will stay synced. So this is really cool just for kind of visual purposes, but yeah, it's just a neat little theme to change the color profile on your iTerm2 terminal. Again, not super practical, but it looks really cool. And the 5th and final VS Code extension that I want to talk about today is VS Code Live Share. This is a pretty awesome extension that was built by Microsoft. Basically, you can use this to do pair coding remotely. I can't really demonstrate this extension because I don't have anybody to demonstrate this with right now, but essentially the way that this works is one person will start a code sharing session. They will be able to send a link and invite somebody else to join their coding session, and then you will both be able to edit the same file at the same time. So you'll both be working on the exact same code file together. This is a pretty amazing collaboration tool. I haven't really used this outside of Hack Reactor, but it is a pretty awesome tool if you ever want to, work on a project together with a friend or something like that. This is probably your best go-to. It's definitely better than just trying to talk to each other over Zoom, but when you can actually highlight and show each other something on the same code file, it's definitely a useful collaboration tool. So I'd recommend checking it out, even if you're not going to use it regularly. Just check it out, try it out with a friend. It's pretty fun to play around with. But that wraps it up for my extensions. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to smash that like button down below. Be sure to hit the subscribe button as well, and hit the notification bell so that you get notified when I post new content. Thanks again for watching, guys.